Why am I grinning like an idiot? How's this? A chance to test ride the Ducati Panigale 959 at the World Superbike facility, the Chang International Circuit. Get the drift? Welcome to PowerDrift. I don't know how the Italians do it. You know what food they eat, what air they breathe. I simply cannot fathom how on earth can they come up with something this stunning. I mean, look at it. Sensual, evocative, borderline pornographic. And then nothing destroys your libido like the new shotgun type exhausts. I mean, that's blasphemy at its best. We know it, the world knows it, and so does Ducati. But they didn't have much choice, did they? I mean, the 959 had to be Euro 4 spec, and given how tightly packaged the 899 was, the limited space just did not allow for the original underbelly exhaust. But this was the only compromise that Ducati was willing to make. So rather than make a Euro 4 spec 899 which was both heavier and less powerful, Ducati decided why not make it bigger and better. So they anyways had to work on the engine so that it can meet the new decibel limit. And that's why they're like, hey, why not extract more performance out of it? So the cubic capacity was increased to 955cc. You see the 959 put down 157 horses. Also, the torque is now up to 107 Newton meters, and they're mainly concentrated on the mid-range between 4 to 9,000 RPM. And now what that means is essentially the 959 has a better power to weight ratio than the 899, despite being 10 kgs heavier than its elder brother, the Panigale 1299. And it didn't just stop at that. So the wider fairing and the taller windscreen which you see on the 959 has been borrowed straight from the 1299. Even the foot pegs are different. So these ones are a lot stickier, they're machined because they've been taken straight from the Superleggera. Also, to account for the increase in power, the wheelbase is now 5 mm longer. That's because the swing arm pivot has been lowered by 4 millimeters. In terms of electronics, it's the same. You have the same set of electronics which you had on the 899. So you have 8-level traction control, 3 riding modes, 3 modes of engine braking system, 3 modes of ABS, and of course a quick shifter as standard. But the 959 also gets a slipper clutch. Okay, enough of this technical blah. We're at this beautiful track facility and it's time to put this stunning motorcycle through its paces. And because this is a press test which has coincided with the DRE, Ducati Riding Experience, we have the best possible people to show us around the racetrack. Multiple world champions. We have Dario, we have Manuel, and my personal favorite, Alexandra Valia. The same guy from the 1299 Ducati Panigale ad who slides around that brutal bike like a cakewalk. So yeah, looks like we're gonna have a mental day. So happy I got a chance to ride the 899 before coming to this test because the improvements Ducati have made in this engine become apparent from the minute you twist the throttle. I mean, the mid-range is markedly better. The 959 pulls noticeably harder out of corners, especially in the lower revs as compared to the 899, which really came into its own above 7,000 RPM. Also, small dips in the mid-range on the 899, they have been taken care of by the addition of a secondary injector per cylinder and a larger airbox. Put things into perspective, this one has a taller gearing setup as compared to the 899, sprocketing especially, but you can still carry a gear higher on some of the tightest corners here. Not that you mind shifting because the quick shifter on this works beautifully. It's a godsend on a track like this because it has such long straights and it works so beautifully. Keep the throttle completely pen, go ta-ta-ta, works seamlessly. Also, this wider fairing and the taller windscreen means that you don't have to be peanut sized like Akash to properly tuck in. And at the end of the straight, you have the Brembo monoblocks to rely on. Okay, these are not M50s, but I love them. They work beautifully. in terms of bite, especially in terms of feel. I love how you can change the engine braking control on this. I was experimenting with that. I reduced it to a fair bit and ended up going into a corner way too hot. But on the flip side, my panic turned to awe looking at how beautifully this bike dealt with that corner. I mean, it made me feel like an idiot. The bike still made me feel like, hey, you could have gone in so much faster. I mean, yes, the new 50-50 weight distribution, the longer wheelbase, and of course the weight means it has lost a sliver of its agility. But what it has gained is composure all the way through the corner. The swing arm is lower, which gives you so much better feel and tremendous feedback and grip even when your bike is completely leaned over, and gives you the confidence to get on the gas early and hard at the exits. Also, the foot pegs, they make a big difference. They are so much grippier, which means you stay properly locked on, you don't slip like on the 899. So you have a bike which is a corner craver like a supersport, but with almost liter class like power at the exits. And it's power that you can really use because the way it's delivered, it's so linear, it's so progressive. The fueling is spot on. The on-off throttle transitions are fantastic. And you always have traction control to watch your back. This doesn't get IMU, doesn't get a lean sensor, and you're running Rosso Corsas, not really Super Corsas. But then I never once had a moment, no matter how hard I pushed. The tires worked really well, and so did traction control. If I had to complain, I would say that the stand is very difficult to get down. You have a lot of electronics, but you miss the toggle switches because to make any changes, you have to come to a stop and you have to go through a menu, which is kind of cumbersome. But that's what I mean. It's also very easy to forget that this is still Ducati's entry-level sport bike now. And you're getting an awful lot of bike for that price, because for 13.97 lakhs, this handles almost like a Daytona. If it can't match it for the agility, definitely for the composure. It's only 20 HP short of the current generation Fireblade, which is on sale in India. And it has electronics which can match the MV Agusta F3800. Pretty much the perfect sport bike, eh? Let's see how it rides on the road.